It's like instead of saying yes, you go. Like, what does that mean?
That's just my noise. It helps me process. Perfectly reasonable.
Then you just have to explain it to everyone you come across.
Yeah.
It means yes, of course. Why don't you understand that?
There was this guy and this girl, and they wanted to make a podcast, and they didn't know what to call it, but they sure talked a lot, so they said, let's call it Flappity Flap. Flappity Flap Podcast. Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast again. Episode...
I think it's 30. I think we're at 30. 30.
30 episodes.
By Jove.
A milestone.
By George. It is.
That's like
great.
1.1... That's like 1.3 subscribers every episode.
1.3 or 1.13? What did you say?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Because we're at 35. Is that your point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, only on the YouTubes. I don't know. I actually haven't checked the stats as much on Buzzsprout for who actually subscribes through the various platforms. But on YouTube, it's just a very straightforward,
Thank you guys for
shop.
Subbing and listening.
Thank you. And thanks for bearing with us through our growing pains.
We'll try to make it interesting as we go.
All we can guarantee is that, well, I can't even guarantee it's interesting for us, but we hope that you find the same things interesting, maybe.
Yeah, and feel free to, of course, like leave a comment, or if you have any thoughts of like what you'd like to hear us talk about or something.
Just trying to navigate the setup here.
And was it last night or this morning? I'm not good at keeping track of time, but it was either last night or this morning. I was holding a cup in the kitchen with just my palm and my fingers, and my thumb was like I wasn't holding it with my thumb, and Sarah commented on it and was like, that looks weird.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into talking about evolution and the thumbs, and I brought up a thought of, are you okay?
Yeah.
You look scared or uncomfortable or something.
I'm just waiting for my chair to roll back again, so I'm kind of like tensed for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you want a sandbag?
I'm in a spot. No.
Our house is, so we're on a 2-story.
I think we talked about this last time, maybe.
Did we?
Maybe a little.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
We're
just on a slope.
We're on a slope because our second floor used to be a roof. Because it's like it was like a little getaway cabin type thing, and they decided to make it 2-story.
River canyon. Cabin.
So the floor is sloped, so we roll we roll. Yeah, it's
on a rolly chair. You roll, and you don't really think about it until you're sitting in a rolly chair, and then you start rolling backwards and go bye.
Start rolling toward the wall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, your thought about the thumblessness.
Yeah, and that got me thinking of a thing that I've thought about before, which is when or if monkeys or other apes in secluded areas evolve to the point where they're using tools as like weapons, and to the point where they can use to where they are advanced and can
rise up
fires.
Against us.
Yeah, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Start building tools, start making things. Who knows? What if they start smelting metals?
Is that like melting and reforming it?
Yeah.
Is that what smelting is?
What if they start smelting down metals and making guns? I don't know.
Well,
that's a long way off probably, but
basically if you're a scientist or anyone who's slightly smarter than us, you could tell us that wouldn't happen because it takes a certain kind of environment or situation. Because we were speculating about, if you have this remote group of apes or monkeys or whatever, smart little guys with opposable thumbs, since that is kind of key to a lot of our evolution. We think, we understand that. We think...
because we're able to easily grasp tools.
Right. But we were saying, like, could that happen, with us being evolved, and whatever your definition of that is.
Being
but
in control of the planet practically,
Yeah.
and then having some secluded area of
Right.
monkeys or apes evolving
Yeah.
and building their technology, and then that poor son of a bitch explorer. I don't know why I said son
Scientist,
of a bitch.
yeah.
You know that expression.
That poor
that
bastard.
Poor SOB.
I understood what, yeah.
Going into the secluded forest, just exploring, and then they come across these monkeys wielding spears.
Well, many thrillers have started that way. Oh, actually, it does remind me of Michael Crichton's Congo movie.
Oh yeah.
Not movie. The movie was god awful.
But weren't they like crazy, like ash monkeys or something, or white?
But they had like
white
split
apes?
off from the kind of.
But they were like
main line.
monster gorillas or something, right?
But the point is, they evolved differently. They split off and they started. And the book was different than the movie.
I was more talking about like evolved technology. But go ahead.
In the book, they used, I think, paddles.
Getting mad at me
because you're not seeing the similarity. You're not seeing the parallels where he kind of made up, this obviously fictional, I hope, Jesus, group of gorillas, I think, they became really strong and they started I think they would use their hands to like crush people's skulls. No, in the book, I think they actually used like paddles. Like they kind of developed paddles and were using them to kill people, like hapless explorers.
A sorority?
What?
I don't know.
Yeah, they were. You could only gain admittance through some kind of hazing process where they paddled your bottom in a line, and then if you made it through with your butt intact, you got to be part of the sorority called APA Beta. I don't know. Some hilarious thing that someone else funnier could come up with. Anyway, shut up. Just let me finish. So they in the movie they made it, I think, to where they just use their hands, but in the book Crichton knew that, like, I don't know, that they were weaponizing. They were using like a weapon, a tool, and they were fucking violent. And they either painted themselves or they were like white, like they had
I think
split
now
off.
they're able to use like clubs and things.
Yeah.
They're able to like use a branch as a club or use a rock as a weapon.
Yeah.
But they aren't at the stage of like fastening, making spears and making fire and
Yeah.
like it'd be crazy to be on an exploratory mission out into the jungle and see monkeys like at night walking around with fucking torches or something.
That would be
Can you
crazy.
imagine how eerie that would be? Like there are monkeys walking around with torches and spears just across the river from us. I would freak the fuck out. I would freak out.
This is why, even if I was a scientist, which I clearly am not, or a biologist or a zoologist or whatever, I would not be that person who would volunteer for one of those excursions. I'd be like, I'll be back in the lab. You can send me your raw data and I will analyze it for you and help you remotely. I will not be going into the deepest depths because I've seen too many of those movies and read too many of those books. Oh my gosh. Are you being attacked?
A fruit fly just like flew into my face.
Speaking of evolution, they're getting increasingly aggressive.
Fruit flies are so damn annoying.
Flies.
Because we live in wine country. So
Is that
like
why?
every certain time of year when it's like harvest or whatever, they are out in full force. I remember one time riding home from the tattoo shop on my motorcycle, and when I got home, my helmet was covered in fruit flies.
You didn't need to eat dinner because you'd eaten your fill of fruit flies.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I mean, they get really bad at a certain time of year, and the container, I don't know why they're still here. Maybe they're just residual from the container.
What container are you talking? Oh, the compost container.
Compost
Yeah,
container.
my mom was trying to compost, but we don't really have like a place to use the composted material. Anyway, we got
Not
kind of off
yet.
track. Killer kamikaze fruit flies in the bedroom. Yeah, so we got rid of that, but yeah, they still
Killer.
are kind of residual. So
They do land in your eye.
Ow.
That really sucks.
I was really clenching that cup.
I've had
and I
a
just
few
cramped.
fruit flies land on my eyeballs, and it's like,
I think I have
don't-
to, or a gnat.
yeah.
Gross.
And then you look, and it's like in your tear duct, just like swimming.
It's so gross. Swimming, doing the back paddle. Anyway,
But
so
it's
back
just
to
dead
the.
from you blinking.
All
Isn't
right,
that crazy?
let's move
You
on
can
with it.
kill a thing by blinking.
You can drown a thing. Oh no, smother it, squash it.
I mean, if you don't feel
Crush it.
powerful, if you don't feel like
Squash
a
a
powerful
squash
person,
a fruit fly or a gnat with your eyelids. Just go and squeeze,
yeah, exactly.
and that's how you can feel better than you do about yourself. That's how.
Sure.
Hey, it was you.
You ran with it though. You grabbed it and
I'm clipping.
you grabbed that
I'm clipping.
torch.
I need to
can
not
see.
get so much joy out of this. So back to the
Okay.
killer apes. We were just wondering if it would be possible, if there'd be enough seclusion and enough time. Because I think there's a difference that probably, again, a scientist could understand between advancement and evolution.
Those scientists
But
out
like,
there.
is evolution a physical change that happens in the same species, or do you become a new? You know what I mean? Whereas advancement is
I think it's a
you're learning to use tools, but your physiology, your anatomy isn't changing.
Can I chime in?
Yeah, I just was completing a thought.
I know.
You were borderline sassy.
Good Lord, you're clearly on edge today.
No, I'm not. I'm very relaxed.
Oh,
Don't
Sure.
let him convince you that I'm not relaxed and very reasonable. Continue. You may have the
forgot
floor.
what I was gonna say.
Oh, come on now.
I genuinely forgot. Moving on.
I really hate it when you say that. I want to punch you. I'm moving on. Okay, maybe this will trigger your thought. Advancement versus evolution. So you have monkeys, apes, people, whatever, learning to use tools, or, like us having the internet doesn't actually mean we've evolved, right? Like, what is something that has changed in humans that
Our
is
brains are evolving, and also we're able to teach each generation, so we're just becoming smarter and smarter. I guess.
Yeah, I think that's harder to measure because maybe we have the same brain, makeup, structure, whatever. I feel like the scientific definition or parameters for evolution is you have like a physical change.
Well, I think the change is within the brain. We're becoming more capable of better like problem solving, and I assume, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, as you know, and as everyone else knows. Mm-hmm. But
Well, that's just what I'm saying, I guess, is I'm sure that
because
I'm
we've
sure that
evolved out the caveman brow,
right, thank God.
we've we're
Got rid of that tail.
fully
or whatever,
erect standing. I don't know if we actually, yeah, we did have a tail, didn't we?
Is that a vestigial, our tailbone? Is that it's like left over?
Walking on all fours, had a tail,
Right.
covered in hair. I mean, this obviously is from a scientific standpoint and not the religious.
Yeah. In case you haven't gathered, we believe in evolution. And
I believe
that we
in
came
evolution,
from
yeah.
apes or whatever. That's very
That we
oversimplified.
still, are.
Yeah.
We still
Primates,
are
right?
a primate, yeah.
But I guess my thing is it, I believe that if left alone
You're
long
definitely
enough,
a primate.
it was good. Yeah. Zing. Coming to the quick.
It did take me a minute to
And then you're like
10 minutes
so
later.
thrilled with yourself.
Wait a minute, I got something good here.
Hold on. You're a primate.
You're a primate.
My ear. Having like a tinnitus moment. So I guess what I'm saying is I feel like, there I go again, I feel like gorillas, apes, chimps, whatever, have the capacity to pick up things, advance, use tools, weapons. But is that evolution or just advancement? And could they actually evolve, let's say, to get to walking on just twos or mostly twos.
I don't
if
think
that's
they're like. Are you thinking of them as being mutually exclusive, advancement and evolution?
I'm saying I think there's a distinction.
I think maybe they're linked.
Well, they're linked, but I think that
Or at least
advancement can maybe trigger evolution or vice versa. But I think there's a distinction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're wanting to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
I
important
don't think
if
we're
you're
smart enough or informed enough to know.
But I think if you're talking and saying things like, "Oh, apes could evolve to do that," like, then maybe don't use that word because because that is like a scientific
Advance
word.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
that's-
absolutely think
What I
so.
meant was advanced
What
to
I
the
had
point.
what I had meant was
To the point where they could
not doing
start
that
using more different tools and start making tools and change physically
yeah,
to, far enough in the future to where they're maybe not walking on all fours anymore, but they're still very clearly like apes or like a cave person, basically.
yeah. I just don't know if that would be possible since we have, humans have evolved and become, like we talked about, the dominant species.
I mean, obviously it wouldn't happen in captivity, but
Yeah.
in a secluded area of the world untouched, if there are any deep into the future, I think it could happen.
I guess I just wonder could it happen in these circumstances because we have such an impact and a presence on the planet that could there be a place of seclusion long enough, that we haven't clear cut or whatever, where it would be on their
Build.
own,
Yeah.
evolve or advance on their own with no or virtually no help from us.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean,
That's an interesting question. It's an interesting question either way. We're kind of like brainstorming, spitballing, like, could that
well,
happen?
I mean, not even like 500 years ago, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There were plenty of areas that were unexplored. So I don't know.
But now there's less. That's my
Quote unquote
point.
unexplored.
That's my point.
by the
is
Western
there's
world.
less. It would be an interesting question. I bet there's some good documentaries about that. Like, I worry about, the clear cutting of the forests, the rainforests and all that. But like, there is a massive amount, but I know the rate at which they're being, destroyed is very fast.
This is kind of a downer. I mean, I get it, and it needs to be talked about, but I don't know if we're the right platform
Well, I'm just saying,
to be talking about. We're aware of
you
it.
fucking brought it up.
What are you talking about?
You brought up the primates and that
Yeah, but I didn't bring up clear cutting and like
my
burning down the
point
forest.
is,
Okay.
oh
all
my
right.
gosh,
I'm backing
is that
off.
I don't know if even in a
Jeez.
few years or a few decades.
You goofball, get
Oh
your
my gosh,
headset in order.
it's just slowly slipping off my egg head. I wish I was an egghead. Doesn't that mean you're smart? Can you hold this? My point is
An egghead or a person with a head like an egg?
either. I would take either. Fucking what is my problem?
Thanks for the tea.
Sure, it's fairly hot. My point is, I don't know if they'll have opportunity.
That's good.
Could I have my tea back? Give me my Jurassic Park cup back.
Jurassic Park.
I want my pink shirt back.
Universal Studios.
I'm just saying. Speaking of Michael
Go on.
Crichton, I'm just saying, will they be left alone long enough to have that opportunity at the rate at which we're destroying the rainforest? I'm not going to get
understood that.
into
No, I understood that.
sustainability and the alternatives for, farming. Just love when you're. I don't know why.
I mean, it's really down to what the corporations decide to do. What the richy rich decide to do is the fate of the world.
Yes,
They have all the control
And
over
we
the
have
resources that
nothing.
are being used.
you've won.
I mean, pretty much.
I know.
Like there are plenty of clean types of fuels and whatnot that we could be using, but because these corporations have a stranglehold.
Okay, now you're going deeper into it than I was
I'm
going to
just-
go. Debbie Downer. Let's
I'm gonna whap you one.
Do it. I like. Remember one, at least in one, I think we had like 2 episodes where you slapped me. I mean, I told you
I
could.
slapped you?
You told you told me
sounds
I
nice.
could die. Oh,
Just-
bitch. No, but I let you slap me. I kind of liked it. You want to try it again? It might do a reset on our vibe here.
You're weird.
Ready?
Let's just
Do
not.
it. I like it.
You're weirding out our listeners.
They like it. So, okay, shifting gears super smoothly. We've been watching The Haunting of Bly Manor. We've watched 2 episodes on Netflix, streaming. Check it out. Same director, same creators, I think. I don't know. I don't know details. I don't
Some
do my
of the
research.
same actors? Is that
A
what you said?
lot of the same actors from The Haunting of Hill House. I told you that's my stalling tactic when I can't think of a
Oh,
thing.
it sounded like you were
Snotty.
injecting some fucking sass into it. From. Like you were talking over me.
I told you sometimes that's my stall tactic for when I can't think of my next words is I
Okay.
add like a syllable that doesn't belong
It just feels like it.
because we're
you-
already in that mode.
And you have some different kinds of like mannerisms that I still to this day have problems with.
Problems?
No, just problems.
Oh, I thought you meant like I take issue with, but you
Problems
meant like
understanding.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Like,
apologize.
You go, well, I can't think of it. You go like,
It's like a acknowledging grunt,
It's like
which
a-
should be clearly just acknowledgement.
It's
I'm
like
just
a,
kidding.
but
Yeah.
it's like,
I think
and it just sounds like, it sounds like you're saying, I don't care.
one of the things is like
Yeah.
or and it is really me kind of making a filler noise to acknowledge what you said and processing, but I have a very similar noise for when I'm judging you from what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And this is not just you. This is like Oscar said it too, like, and I'm like, oh.
because with most people, that sound is the same, but it rises in pitch. It goes, That's like,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued or like, interesting. Okay. But you're like a, And it just sounds like it's basically, I feel like you're telling me to shut up or something.
Oh. Well, and I
In
feel
the
like
form of
if
a
I
grunt.
said, it would be, it wouldn't feel genuine to me. It would feel really like dorky, nerdy. That's neat.
So do your normal one.
Well, now I can't remember. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Or it's definitely, but really it is most of the time just me wanting to acknowledge that you've said a thing and that I'm processing it.
I understand it now.
I can't affect a different noise.
But in the beginning of us knowing
Yes,
each other
I
and
remember.
our relationship, I would
Yeah.
always be like, what in the world?
What is this bitch? She fucking judging me?
Why? What kind of a response is that?
I think it did kind of come from a jokey place. Like a lot of times I'll start saying a thing as a joke or
Like
because
nuclear?
I've heard I've heard it in a movie or something or heard it. Yeah. And then it'll become a part of my actual speech, which can be a problem, especially. So I don't know if I kind of picked that up from someone. Partly I think my mom does it because I think Pete, her partner, will do the same thing. Like, what does that mean? You know, I was like, I'm just acknowledging what you said. I don't really have a comment necessarily. Maybe I'm thinking about it. It's, but sometimes I'll use it on purpose and I'll be like, or
It just
so
comes
it's
off.
not consistent.
It just comes off as a different kind of sound.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're not the only person who said that. But I don't feel like changing. So no, I could if
you don't have to. Just,
excuse me.
just be prepared for if you do that to somebody for them to be like, what?
Them to backhand me. Okay.
No,
that's
just
fair.
for them to be confused by it. It's like instead of saying yes, you go, like, what does that mean?
That's
I
just
don't-
my noise. It helps me process. Perfectly reasonable.
Then you just have to explain it to everyone you come across.
Yeah.
It means yes, of course. Why don't you understand
fool.
that?
I like that. I might have to do something like that. Like just pick a new noise. This is my processing noise. Or something.
Like a raspberry.
Or just processing what you're saying. Don't. You're shaking your head. Don't.
If you really want to, but I feel like you're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, we go off on a lot of tangents. Anyway, we're watching the Manor of Bly Manor, The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of the same actors from The Haunting of Hill House.
Fuck, that show is so scary.
Which one? I feel like
both
Hill
of them?
House was way better.
But the Bly
Already.
Manor one, oh my gosh. They
Yeah.
just like, they push it to where you're on the very last centimeter of your seat.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like it's so long.
Yeah. And I won't make this a thing, but Brandon does have, he strained a muscle in his back. So being tense sitting is not probably good, but I couldn't turn it off. I really wanted to watch more, but it, 2 episodes was about the max. And if I want him to stay and watch it with me, I have to pace us. And also I didn't want him to hurt himself more or
By being
another
tense.
muscle by being tense. So then we're sitting there watching it, and of course it's in a big, basically haunted house like the first one, but in England. And we're at this really tense scene. There's like there's a thing with a doll and you don't really know yet.
Oh my
In
God.
the first or second episode, I think it was the second episode, you don't really know what this little doll that the little girl has, and she's being very particular.
Also, by the way, spoilers.
Oh,
Spoilers.
that's
We
not
should
really a
probably-
spoiler. I'm not going to give anything away because also I don't know. You don't know yet. You don't know. So
They do kind of show it in the trailer too, I think.
I forgot
doll?
already. But
The doll turning its head.
no, that was a different doll. Spoiler. The little doll that she keeps saying it
Oh,
stays
yeah.
under the bed, and then she
Yeah.
moves it under the dresser, and you're like, what? So at one point, I think it had to do with that little doll, and we're super tense, like what is happening? And for the last 10 to 20 minutes, we can hear these cats outside, real cats, doing these low yowls, and we're like, just get on with
And
it.
I knew they were
fuck
going to
each other
start
up.
fighting.
Right. But of course, they chose their moment perfectly because we are so tense, just waiting. And all of a sudden, and I'm going to break the sound barrier here, and it was just like,
Yeah, it's a cat.
did,
It's
so-
a typical
but-
cat fight.
at the worst moment. And
Yeah,
we
it
both
was like-
just like jumped,
It was at the height of
and I had
a
like
scary moment.
full body chills. Like, and I just wanted to strangle me some cats because it was so perfect, though. It was kind of fun. I do enjoy it. I didn't realize until watching The Haunting of Hill House and some of the other horror movies, I do like it. I get why people watch that shit now. I really like watching you be scared and startled. Why is that so enjoyable for me? I am a tiny bit sadistic because
Clearly.
you're so unfazed by the horror stuff and some other, like when we used to watch Markiplier play scary games and I'd scream and you'd be like, God damn,
Oh
you're
my
so
gosh,
quiet.
Yeah. You've
You know,
stopped screaming quite as much.
I've become a little desensitized, but I think because the ghost stuff doesn't faze me as much as it does you, or the kind of jump stuff, and it's just fun to watch with someone else. It's just not fun to watch it. I made like a weird inadvertent mouth fart. Anyway, it's fun to watch with someone else, and it's just nice to not be the super scared one for a change. So I really like you watching with me, but it means I can't binge.
Well, I think a lot of the time, too, you have been the reason I've gotten scared. So, like, we'll be watching a thing and something... I mean, it used to be that something so minute would happen and
Yeah.
you would scream, like, sort of at the top of your lungs.
And I don't
And
consider
that-
myself a screamer. I'm
that
not.
is-
Go ahead.
That is what would scare
I know.
the shit
I
out of me.
remember. You would look at me with such anger
Just like,
because being
you are
scared
what
that
would
hard.
scare me.
Yeah. Because I never really watched scary things. I mean, I think the scariest thing I watched was like What Lies Beneath, which is supernatural. And maybe like one of those, not The Haunting of Hill House, but it was The Haunting or something. And it was really bad, but I'm not like a scary movie watcher. But so when
I'm
we
not
would
either.
watch,
I don't like feeling tense. And
but when
like,
we would watch like
clenched up.
Markiplier get jump scared or playing like some of those, I can't think of them, of course, right now. I wasn't used to it, so it would startle me and I'd scream. That was just like my release, and I've gotten better about that.
I don't think you've screamed at all lately.
I think
like,
you
with
did a more of a noise lately than I did.
Really?
It wasn't a scream anywhere near a scream, but for you it was quite vocal. I don't
Oh,
know
like,
what
oh.
we were.
Oh,
I think it was more like
oh.
a startled grunt. Anyway, so the actors are, I think they're all American, except maybe some of the people working at the English Manor, the Bly Manor. But Carla I forget her name, the one who's narrating. She's doing like kind of, I think, like a posh English accent, but then it's like northern because she slips in these like northern words.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
can't think of
bit
an
like
example.
when a British person is doing an American accent. It's like, where are you from, Boston or Texas?
Yeah,
Or
right. But I feel like usually a lot of English people seem better at doing American accents than the other way around. Like Americans don't understand. I don't know. And maybe she has.
I think it depends.
Maybe what they're trying to convey is that she has affected this kind of more upper class or certain regional accent, but the northern kind of slips through. But then you have, I think, some other people who are doing English accent, and it just puts me on edge because I'm like, just get an English person to do it, you know. And then just the story and the acting seems a little weird compared to the first one that was just right from the get-go. I was like, this is good, you know. They did a good job. Maybe they're just a little bit relying on the success of the first one. It's still good. It's still scary, entertaining, but I'm like a little bit irritated. But someone said episode 5 gets really good.
So why are you irritated?
Because
the
there's a little bit of a weird just vibe or like affected, like the blonde girl who was one of the siblings in the first show. There's just something about her energy, and I think it's meant to make you nervous or put you on edge. You know, there's obviously something going on with her. She has kind of this
perfectly
ghost.
Such and such, perfectly delightful.
Oh no, that's the daughter. But I'm talking about the grown-up, the teacher woman, the nanny, the au pair. The blonde woman.
What about her?
She just kind of puts you on edge. She puts me on edge.
Does she?
Yeah, you haven't? All right, just me, I guess.
Why?
I don't know. I like her, but
I mean, definitely with the jump scares from the mirrors, but
I just mean the way she acts. She's very nervous looking, kind of up and down emotionally, and I think maybe that's part of it, but it's also like
she seems like she has schizophrenia or something.
It doesn't feel as natural as the acting doesn't feel as natural, and the story doesn't feel as naturally put together as the first show. Like, yes. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I do enjoy.
I don't think it's as well written.
Yeah.
But it still has some good scares, and oh my gosh, the hide and seek scene, which we won't spoil for you, but holy shnikes.
What Brandon's calling the mud man is
mud
like
man. Yeah, when so they're
like that you just started calling him that.
So the camera's panning past the little girl's dollhouse, and she has all these freaking nightmare freak dolls in her house, and I'm like, I got a bad feeling about that mud man, because there's like a little like mud man.
It's like he's wearing a big potato sack, and then he has like kind of a straw hat, but like a brown kind of
He's all kind of like brown.
He looks very brown and kind of misshapen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandon just right out the gate. I don't like the look of that mud man doll.
And then of course in one of the scenes he's like in the background just standing there watching.
Or he's in the background and then he's not, and they're like, did I just see? Because what you learn from the first show is all the stuff that you've been missing until your friends go on Facebook or they tell you in the office before COVID, oh, did you see in that one? And you're like, God damn it. So now I'm constantly looking. I like one scene I was like, that fucking guy, that fucking mud man is standing in the distance. And then the next scene he's gone. So now we know to look for them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun because I definitely need to go back and watch the first one.
Waldo.
Not as whimsical.
Lighthearted.
Not as whimsical. Yeah. I found him. Oh, I found him.
I don't want to find him.
I want to find him.
The mud man. Or the faceless woman.
The faceless woman.
I don't know.
Faceless woman. Yeah.
I don't think they've shown her yet, but they did show the weird one during the hide and seek one. Hide and seek scene. She was like,
ooh. Or when, oh yeah, and the little girl's just like, shh, shut up. And
she shushes her, and it's like, holy fuck. I was
like, oh well, at least we know she's not going to be attacked. But it was kind of like, it reminded me of
what little kid would be okay with that? There are little kids that freak out and cry from Santa Claus.
Really? Was that you? Is that what you're trying?
Have you not seen like kids crying on Santa's lap?
Yeah, that's true. But that's not the real Santa. Maybe they just know that.
I feel like you miss my point like
Yes.
all the time.
No, I know. I just didn't feel like addressing it head on. Sorry. Yes, I've seen those children. I hate them.
Okay.
He's clear.
Anyway, why would you... What little kid would be okay with a nightmare monster?
Yeah.
No little kid.
Yeah.
That's the answer to that
Yeah.
question.
Maybe little kids who've lost their parents.
No.
That's not really a spoiler because
Not
that's like a
even then.
fundamental part of the story. But
I think any little kid would be like, "Go, my Jesus." You know?
yeah, you're probably right.
No.
No. You're probably right.
And you probably especially wouldn't want to shush them.
You just get your soul sucked out of your nose, out through your nose, because it doesn't
on a
live
good
in your
day.
nose. Yeah, that's true. God. Anyway, it's a fun show.
It just really draws out the scare moments. So,
I can't wait to. I can't wait to watch the next episode with you right after we finish recording. Are you okay with that?
I'll do some other work or something.
But I
Because
love.
it tenses me up.
But I
and
love
don't know
that.
if my back/hip can handle it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should just wait until you're healed. No, it's fine.
You can watch it.
No, it's fine.
I might do some
It's
work.
just fun when you sit with me and we like are scared together. Because no one else will.
I just don't like the
My sister won't watch it with me. Otherwise, I'd say come over and we'll binge watch this show.
I just don't like the clenching. The
Yeah.
long clenches.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with horror films, but like get on with it.
Yeah.
They draw those fucking moments out as long as humanly possible.
Right.
I'm going to go into the basement.
No one.
I'm going to take
no
as
one
long
ever.
as possible.
And the light doesn't work.
The light
okay,
doesn't
then
work.
I'm turning back around and I'm saying screw your doll.
That's you, but
You
this
know
character,
no one would do that.
this
Yeah.
character continues onward. And also, the doll is standing in the middle of the floor facing me. That's totally normal because I'm a stupid idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just walk up to it and pick it up and then stand there and stare at it for 20 million years.
And wait for the door to shut on me or the light to turn off or whatever.
And then I'm going to turn around and be like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm completely oblivious to the fact that this house is very obviously haunted.
Right.
And any bozo would be able to tell that something's not right about this family, about the house. I mean, she's seen ghosts and shit already.
Yeah.
She's seeing freaky dolls that this little girl is putting up everywhere, saying, no, this doll belongs here.
But she also
What?
has something haunting her, so it might just make her more accepting. Like, yeah, this sucks. I'm not super into it, but
I think I'd be even less likely to go down there knowing that there is shit like that exists.
That's true.
She has something following her around, and she's going into a dark cellar.
My key thing is, and this is a spoiler alert, so plug your ears if you want to watch it. Hearing that the prior au pair killed
Au
herself.
pair is like a nanny, by the way.
Right.
I didn't know that.
I guess more English people say it. So she's the nanny. That maybe there's a
But she killed
nuance.
herself.
She killed herself. Whatever story they're giving her or telling her, I mean, that would make me, that would be enough to where I'd be just, if I felt like I had to take that job, I'd be really watching my step. Yeah. Like the little girl said, don't leave your room at night.
Well, and also, why?
Don't go down to the cellar. Don't go to the forbidden wing.
How about you ask the little child why she's so concerned about you leaving your room at night? And also, why aren't the little kids saying, the house is haunted?
Right.
There are monster freaking ghosts everywhere. And even if the adult doesn't believe it, they would at least be like aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And normally you can read kids. So like if a little kid is telling you it's haunted and you see that they're not smiling or smirking or laughing, it's like, okay, she genuinely seems to think that the house is haunted. Maybe I will take that into account.
Well, and this is that line where I think it tells you if it's good writing or not, which is they feel like they have to manufacture these situations by not having people communicate openly.
Or be smart.
Right. And it's just like you would have walked in front of a car. Well, and she does almost walk in front of a car at the beginning. So what am I saying? You would not have survived this long. You would have drowned in the rain because you'd be one of those dumb people, looking up with your mouth open.
Dumb people? Like
or
chickens
dumb turkeys, or yeah,
Do they
which
actually
might
do
be
that?
an urban myth, but
think that might be an
I
urban
still
myth.
was so not tickled by it because it's horrible, but just the idea that something would be so dumb. But my point is, if you were really that dumb as you're acting, you would not have made it to your adult years.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel like they have to write it that way to create these situations that these people get themselves in. It's like, no, I think better writing you would eliminate that, or at least most of that. Like, there's a certain amount of stupidity or impulsiveness or just mistaken behavior that we will permit and forgive from these characters if it's not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If a normal person would not do that. You don't run back into the house, or you don't, like, obviously it would not work for the story for her to just go after night one, this house is fucking haunted and I'm out of here.
Like any normal person.
So they have to keep her there. They have to write it to keep her there. She's desperate. She's running away from something. But there's a line, there's a limit to her stupidity that we will accept and still be empathetic, sympathetic with her.
And we talked about that with another show.
Probably The Walking Dead, or...
No, it was that too, but it was the show with the monsters that can only hear.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Can't see,
A Quiet Place,
with
yeah.
the Office guy.
Yeah.
Jim from The Office.
Right.
Yeah, and how they were just making the dumbest moves humanly possible.
Right.
And it's like
And putting their small children at risk.
And it's very unrealistic that you would be the last family alive with how stupid you're being right now.
Right.
It is so unrealistic that you would be the last ones alive. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're being so careless and dumb. It's just completely unrealistic.
Well, and I think he even made some comment, John Krasinski, because I think he maybe wrote and directed it, about how great it is. I don't think he said it was easy, but I think he made a comment about the process of writing a horror movie or a thriller or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like, until you've got a few under your belt and you write them in a way that is not stupid, and that we still sympathize with the characters because they're not doing completely stupid things. Like, just
I thought it was a great movie.
Just don't compare. Don't put yourself in that sphere, in that group of I'm a horror writer now, or
Is
like
that what he said?
No, but just don't. Just shush, because it was fun, but it was also really stupid in a lot of places.
I thought it was really good and really interesting. It's just the way the characters were written.
It was really well done. I think in the way of the cinematography, I don't know if you'd call it that. It was really well done. The creatures, I thought, were well done. They were scary. It was a very scary situation. It would be terrifying. But the dumb things they do, like, some of them would be unavoidable. You would have issues where a thing would get knocked over, especially if you're dealing with kids.
Yeah.
But there's just things that are unacceptable, unforgivable. Please don't write your characters so stupidly. Don't insult us.
I at least stop identifying with characters. Like,
I want you to die now.
Yeah, I
don't care if you die.
I do get to that point. There's a show that Kevin Bacon was in called The Following.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was like, can you just kill Kevin Bacon? Because I'm sick of seeing him tied up. Mm-hmm.
Was he a detective?
I was thinking, like,
what was his?
Let's start a drinking game. Every time he gets tied to a fucking chair, have a swig.
You'd be dead from, like, alcohol poisoning in the first episode.
It was just so stupid. And it's like he keeps getting caught by this guy that he's trying to catch.
Yeah.
And he's just making the dumbest possible moves. I get to a point where I don't identify with him anymore because I am not rooting for him anymore.
Yeah.
You can only root for a person for so long, for so many stupid decisions, before you just say, you know what, fuck you.
But that is also a symptom or a side effect of Hollywood, and I don't know if it's I've said this before, how the English, at least, I hopefully they're not changing this to kind of match the American way. They kind of do these limited series, sometimes very few episodes, very limited. You have to tie it up neatly. It's beautiful. It leaves people wanting more. And And they don't do that because I watched the first episode or two of that show and I think it was pretty good.
The Following?
Disturbing, but I just wasn't super into it, but I actually thought it was good. They weren't doing that shit yet. So what probably happened is they ran out of fresh ideas and they just stretch it out and it's like, no.
Just kill it. Just kill the show
wrap it
instead
up
of...
and then do a different show. If you really like Kevin Bacon, cast him in another show, but don't just stretch it out and then you're just recycling stories or you're having these like smart characters just make incredibly dumb decisions just to keep this story going. And the thing is, there's a lot of people who will still watch it and just are very forgiving, kind of like The Walking Dead.
It's true.
But
a lot
I'm
of the
just,
Walking Dead
I think if you kind of have high standards for that stuff, like, no, you want less is more. And you want high quality, less quantity. And then go do the next fresh thing. But I think it's just kind of easy money. And the momentum is there and the inertia. And I'm just out. I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate stopping watching a thing in the middle. But it's like with Lost, you know, you should have probably ended at season 4 or season 5 or Breaking Bad. Even I think they went another season or 2 over and, you know, they had a really perfect finale. And I didn't watch the whole show, but I remember my ex watching it and being like, this is the finale. Like, why did they make another season? This was the perfect ending. You greedy fuckers, or you just...
It's just, yeah, it's money.
And I think a lot of times the actors are just tied in. I don't know for sure. Or they're just like, at least I know I have a gig. But do you really need your McMahon? Like, don't you probably have enough money that you could make a good decision about your projects and go, I really think that we should wrap this one up and go do our next thing?
You know what I think would be better than that is to just, if you are going to continue writing it, take your time on it.
Yeah.
Do a good job. Like, why do you have to rush it out to the public? Especially if it's going to be crap. Because then you're just going to disappoint all of the fans.
Yeah, but who I'm talking to, I think, is like studio heads, the people who aren't writing the show.
That's what I'm
or
saying.
The movie.
Like,
but those people, all the studio heads care about,
is money.
And maybe this is a cliche and oversimplification, is the money.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to bring in, even if you're guaranteed to bring in 90% of the viewers or the money that you've been bringing in, you've alienated 10%, 90% still good. Keep it going. Because we know that people are watching this show and are tied to these characters.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of writers who are like, I would really like to do the next original new thing and not be writing tigers into this show. You know what I mean? Like,
she's speaking of The Walking Dead.
Which I have not seen that far because I quit after.
But who the fuck has the resources to maintain a freaking tiger in the zombie apocalypse? They eat a lot of meat, right? I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they feed the tiger living humans.
Probably.
I mean maybe that's...
we can't super comment on that because we haven't seen.
It's just a very unreasonable thing to have.
And some people thought that was really cool. And that, I'm just throwing it out there as an example, like jumping the shark.
Yeah.
Like,
it is
there's enough.
Yeah.
There's enough of those things that is happening, you know, because I do hear from people who are that are happening, that from people who are still watching it, and I just go, yep, I'm just glad I quit while it was still pretty entertaining, but I also just hated that governor character. So I think after that season, I watched a little bit more after that, but I was like, you guys are just doing stupid shit. And I just don't believe that you would have made it doing the stupid shit you're doing, and it's tired. I mean,
it's not at all about the zombies anymore. It's
that
about...
show would have been awesome if it was probably 2 seasons. It would have been, because the first season was so like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
Largely because, like I was saying, it was about the zombies.
Yeah.
And then it became about human drama. Humans being freaky freaks.
Yeah.
What's the next freakiest human you can encounter? And it's like, you forget about the zombies. And it's like, so is this show about zombies anymore? That's what it felt like when I stopped watching, is like, it's not even about the zombies anymore. It's about these fucking nut jobs out, like, eating people, whatever, keeping people's heads in aquariums, whatever.
Yeah.
Which, sure, they might exist in that kind of a scenario, but like, what about you're missing the primary like reason for the show, which is zombies.
Yeah.
It's just weird to
Yeah.
me.
Anyway.
I mean, I feel like you can still have that thrill of the
Yeah.
zombies.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. I think you have to do some different things, but you know, maybe the zombies evolve. You know, I had a dream where a zombie was using a bazooka and it was terrifying. But that would be
A bazooka zombie.
that would be more of a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get faster. Maybe something changes about how you can get infected, you know. I don't know, but that show, you know, like an example is well, it's a totally different kind of show, but Broadchurch. And there are 3 seasons, but it sounds horrible, but I wasn't as interested in the kind of rape story that was in the 3rd season. But the first 2 seasons were about the same murder and then the trial. And it was so good. But it was limited. And the episodes were kind of long. They were like 45 or 50 minutes, I think. But they wrapped it up, you know. I just think that we need to stay with that.
Stay with that, but we don't.
I mean,
do
sitcoms are different, but I just think that is the key when it's like a show like that, a dramatic
Tell Hollywood.
show. Well, and maybe with shows like Law and Order, you know, you can have news stories all the time. I don't know, there are people who love that, but I'm just talking about shows where the novelty of the zombies kind of wears off, or the novelty.
But if you have good enough writers, you can figure something out.
Yeah.
Get your room of writers to work on something interesting and maybe new or a different angle or something.
But I think if you don't have an idea of where the story's going to go and how it's going to end, you know, J.K. Rowling, when she wrote Harry Potter, I think she was writing all the books, bits of all the books at the same time. And I think she wrote the ending, and maybe this is just one of those things that's been passed around. It's not really true. But what I heard was that she knew how she was going to end it. So she had, and obviously they've done some spin-off stuff. I haven't watched the other, or read the Fantastic Beasts or whatever the hell it's called. But it was clearly wrapped up, you know? And yeah, it was 7 books,
but
or
then again, that's
6, 7?
British.
Yeah, right.
Americans.
Just milking it. Milking it for all it's worth. And a lot of people eat it up, and maybe just because it's escapism and all they care about. I don't think we're necessarily smarter than the people who do love it, but I think we're just more picky about
your favorite characters. Like I do totally understand about, you've got this show, your favorite characters. Like if they made Futurama again, I would watch the crap out of it. I mean, it would have to be quite bad for me to be disappointed by it and not watch it. So it's like you kind of, it's like a nostalgia thing as well, of like, I'm attached to these characters. And I think
if you watched an episode or 2 and you could tell that they were just trying to milk the original, I think you'd get turned off immediately, pretty quickly, because you'd also be like, you're spoiling my memory and my affection for the first
But I think that's what a lot of Americans are thinking, is they don't want it to end. And I get that. I'm actually on the same page.
Then just go back and watch it again. I mean, you don't like to do that, but I do.
Stuff with the same characters in the same environment.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I get it.
I get it, but I think that's partly what makes it so good, is because it did end, and it ended before it got tired. I mean, there's a reason that saying exists, you know, leave them wanting more, quit while you're ahead, know when to make your exit, whatever, because it's better to leave them wanting more than to have them go, when is this gonna, you know? I really hate cutting it off in the middle of before show's ended.
I agree with that. I think leave or stop making content when you are no longer invested beyond the money you're making from it. If you don't really give a damn anymore,
that's fair.
If the writing is clearly bad, even in the creator's opinion, then just stop. Yeah, if you're just doing it for the fanboys and fangirls, then stop.
Don't.
Yeah.
Take it from us, because we know. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't know or plan on spending that much time on that topic.
Yeah, that was a long time.
It's still, we're kind of picky in that way, but it's still an entertaining show, The Haunting of Bly Manor. Like, it's still the atmosphere and everything has been really fun. Obviously, like, a haunting in an English mansion or any mansion is just fun and cool. That I love that shit.
Yeah.
Gothic, I think, like a gothic kind of story.
freaky fucking monsters everywhere. I mean, I like that kind of weird shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't, and like the forms, you don't know what to expect next. Like what's next? There's a weird spider lady and like a mud man and like, what other kind of horrible thing?
Or you're looking for stuff because you're like, I know they do this. So you're looking for it in the wrong place. And then it's kind of funny when it doesn't appear. Something doesn't appear. And then when you least expect it, it does. And you're like, motherfuckers, they got me.
You guys, you bastards.
Freaking guys.
You guys got me. And I really like, I already said this just now, but I really like the weird kind of monsters. It makes me think of, like, what's that video game that Markiplier played with the big saggy
SCP?
potato head monsters that were like trying to catch you to eat you or something?
Oh yeah,
They're,
the
like,
little
making
one, little something, little ones, or
Yeah. So you're like running around kitchens and stuff, and they're like little mushroom men, and there are big, freaky guys that look like they're wearing masks, but their heads are all melty and
it's
fat.
weird. Yeah, what little treasures, little nightmares?
Little nightmares, I think. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, such a cool,
So cool,
so scary.
I love that weird kind of
yeah,
crap.
you do kind of draw a lot of stuff like that,
But
just
it's
making like a weird kind of robot monster. Like you definitely like.
monster.
I feel like you've just made weird kind of robot-y. Remember that one you made that was like a monster, but part of its body was like a pool of blood that had creatures in it.
Oh yeah, that was
like
a long
four-legged.
time ago.
It was like a table. That one stuck with me.
I'm sorry.
Freaky freak. It was like were there dead little creatures in it,
Yeah,
were they just having like a nice hot bath in
his
blood?
his body was like a bloodbath.
It was like a bird fountain, but for the most horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should redraw that.
You should redraw that and then link it. We could post it just here. Well, we could just post the original. That might be fun. I know that you don't like to look at your old stuff.
I don't know where it is. I could find it, I'm sure.
You definitely had it on there. That was, I think, around the time you first got the tablet
I'll find
5
it.
years ago.
I'll find
It would be fun to just
Yeah.
put that, especially for the people who know you kind of personally.
But they're just fun to look at. Freaky, scary monsters.
That would be fun to post a few, or just to post to your ArtStation page and be like, this is why Brandon likes these freaky creatures.
That's not why. I just like them because it's fun.
Because he is one. I'm just kidding.
Because it's fun to
Use your imagination.
It's fun to see what people come up with, and like the way that the enemies would move in that game. They would just like warble all over the place. Like,
why did that make it scarier? Because they weren't fast, but it was like
but
they're
fast,
huge and you're tiny,
and they would shriek. They had like shrill,
and they would have these little bursts of speed.
Yeah,
these little shuffly fat bursts of speed.
They'd run at you with their hands out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Markiplier plays it. I think it's Little Treasures. I could just Google it, but
it's
so fun to watch.
Crazy, and
but it was scary.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares? What did I just say?
I think it's Little Nightmares.
Okay, keep talking.
Like you said. But yeah, there are monsters like that in the in this show.
Yeah, that's so funny. Anyway, yeah, we weren't going to spend that much time on it. I don't know. Should we talk about the thing that we were going to talk about, or
what's that?
Weird animal things in nature.
Let's just do like a few. Let's finish the show off with that.
Okay. Oops. It's almost like a little closing. Instead of like a would you rather. Okay. So, did you know that koalas have fingerprints that are so closely similar to humans that they have fooled CSI people?
What?
Yeah. Okay.
I had no idea.
So here's the challenge when we come up with these types of lists or just things to talk about is you have to do your research. And I really don't like research. Like when we sit down to do it, we want it to be fresh. But you want to make sure your information is correct. So there were at least 3 things on the Dodo page that was like 16 weird facts that were immediately urban myths. 3% of the Arctic is not made of penguin pee. They don't actually pee, or it comes out of one hole, or what, just shit like that. And I'm just irritated.
The cloaca, right?
I don't know if that's what's called in penguins, but it's similar. It's like, okay, if they do quote unquote pee, urinate, it comes out of the same hole with the poop and it's just in there mixed in. Anyway, it's just disgusting. I saw a picture. It's gross. So I've chosen to go with Wikipedia. I feel like they have funding. I contribute myself. I feel like usually their information is fact checked. Might not be 100%, but I think I can rely on it mostly for something like this. So,
Okay.
koalas have fingerprints which look the same as human fingerprints. Experts have had difficulty in being able to tell if the prints are from a human or koala. Fingerprints are rare among mammals that climb trees. Scientists do not know why the koala has them, but their best guess is that it helps the koala choose leaves to eat. They don't really explain that. I don't know how. I don't know how.
By feel. They're like, this one feels good.
Yes, but I just think that's amazing that you
Also,
could.
I think they're like the dumbest.
You could frame a koala
animal.
or be framed by a koala.
They're known as like the dumbest mammal, I think.
Are they a mammal? They're not a. Oh, they are a mammal. I don't know why I was thinking.
Marsupial.
But a marsupial is a mammal.
Yeah.
My gosh, I get so confused by that.
But they're like the dumbest one I've heard.
Oh, that's sad. Isn't it partly they can't? It's not because they're slow, because of the eucalyptus is all they eat.
It could be because they're poisoning themselves with eucalyptus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, why are you laughing at that, you freaking monster? I'm just kidding. Anyway, so be careful. That is a defense you could make is if you live in Australia. I didn't do it. It was a koala. He's after my woman. He's trying to frame me. Put me away for life. I don't know. I still think you could differentiate, but you'd have to, maybe when they have koalas in, I was going to say captivity, they should fingerprint them for a database, to rule out. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Oh, this one's fun. This makes me love rat. I love rats, and partly because
that's not a rat. That's a monkey.
It's not. God damn it! But here we go.
That's an ape.
My mom loves rats. She had rats. To be clear, we're not talking sewer rats or wild rats, but she had rats. She said they were super smart. They are super smart. I've seen people do like agility type training with them. They emit ultrasonic calls that are induced during rough and tumble play and when tickled by humans. They're ticklish. They do little chirps when they're tickled. So it could be kind of cruel. Tickling a rat who can't... Oh, interesting. Tickling a rat who can't fight back. Like humans, rats have quote-unquote tickle skin, areas of the body that generate greater laughter responses than others. Rats that laugh the most also play the most and prefer to spend more time with other laughing rats.
That is so strange.
Isn't that adorable? Huh.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
Thank you for informing us on this. That's so weird. I like it.
I just think that's so... I really want a rat. But anyway.
I don't.
Not now.
The problem is they don't, poop or pee discerningly, right? Kind of like a bird. They just kind of go, oh, I'm here, so I'm going to shit.
But that one person had a bird and she would move him in the morning and he would poop in the morning.
There was shit all over her house, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe. Birds. Okay.
Birds poop wherever they damn well please. And
That's true.
It is awful.
That's true. Of course, I have, I came across several animals who had weird penis stuff going on with them. So, of course, I had to look into that.
Oh, yep.
The Argentina, anyway, it's a lake duck that lives in Argentina, has a penis, or at least the one they caught and measured, had a penis measuring 42.5 centimeters or 16.7 inches. I think they said it was longer than the duck's actual body.
Holy shit.
It's typically coiled up in flaccid state, my favorite word. It can reach about the same length of the animal itself when fully erect, but more commonly is about half the bird's length. Ah, too bad. It has a soft tip and spiny base, ladies.
Spiny? What is with these animals having spiny penises?
I haven't even gotten to that horrific stuff yet.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is theorized that the size of their spiny penises with bristled tips may have evolved in response to competitive pressure in these highly promiscuous birds. Removing sperm from previous matings in the manner of a bottle brush. Whoa. Whoa.
That is special.
Whoa.
Have you heard of, so not to,
That's crazy. Talk about cock blocking, post-coital cock blocking.
I think maybe I've heard that human wee-wees are capable of that too.
Thank you for using that less offensive word.
I've heard that that's like why the head is shaped the way it is, or why the foreskin is shaped the way it is.
It kind of scoops back.
It like plunges it or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this more.
Biology is pretty cool.
Oh, I like this. This is very good for the feminists, which is hopefully maybe most, or just women. The males often try to force copulation, which is sex, but the complex, can I say the words, mating geometry, I love that, allows the females to retain control. Take a lesson, humans. Most forced copulations do not result in successful fertilization. I don't want your fucking rape baby ducks. Piss off.
Wow.
I like it.
I had no idea that most ducks were rapists. That
but I
really
think it was saying
changes
that
my thought on how I like ducks. I used to like them, but now
you're going to go back to giving them spicy Doritos?
Mm-hmm. Knowing that they're mostly rapists now.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's like dolphins. The magic is gone.
Yeah. Gross.
But have you heard of, not to change the topic, but echidnas?
Yeah, I have that here, but I didn't think we had time. Do you want to go ahead? I mean, we have as much time as we want. It's just when these people choose to turn our voices off.
Dan and Aaron were talking about it.
Oh.
And they because Knuckles from Sonic and Knuckles.
Is an echidna?
He's an echidna.
Okay, I always forget that. I think you've told me that multiple times.
And they have like freaky monster penises.
They have four-headed penises. You only really need one, you would think. Right?
You'd think. Unless it's like in danger of being decapitated.
Oh my God.
What?
During mating, the heads on one side shut down and do not grow in size. So it's like you have a backup.
What is wrong with biology?
The other two are used to release semen into the female's two-branched reproductive tract. It is like a backup set. Each time it copulates, it alternates heads in sets of two. So you want to give one set a break. You know? It's like a rotation.
What is going on this planet?
When not in use, the penis is retracted inside a preputial sac in the cloaca. The male echidna's penis is 7 centimeters, 2.8 inches long when erect, and its shaft is covered with penile spines.
What is with the spines?
Spined for her pleasure. These may be used to induce ovulation in the female. That's fucking crazy. You know,
the spines?
Survival.
How would that induce anything other than bleeding and pain?
For her pleasure. Well, I'm sure they're not like spines the way you're thinking about it, like nails that like puncture. Because I feel like spines can, you know, like you run your hand down them and they kind of go down. Maybe. That's what I'm hoping for her sake. Well, let's just move on to something that is definitively traumatic.
Okay.
So we already hate bed bugs.
The four-headed penises wasn't traumatic enough.
No, it wasn't. Trust me on this.
And the monster spiral duck penises wasn't traumatic enough.
Do you feel uncomfortable looking at this picture of fucking bed bugs?
Are you asking me or are you just saying that?
You, because they're not looking.
It just looked...
To me...
Because you weren't looking at me.
To me, it looks like bed bugs with their limbs intertwined in a, passionate embrace.
It just looks like bugs on top of each other.
Yeah.
I don't...
Well, so if you didn't have enough reason to hate bed bugs and you're just kind of crazy and you just love bugs and, I don't know, you feel they should be given a chance.
Here's more reasons.
Yeah. There is a page on Wikipedia called Traumatic...
Pardon me?
That was dramatic. Traumatic insemination. And there's multiple animals. So it is the mating practice of some species of invertebrates in which the male pierces the female's abdomen with his aedegus. I don't know what that is.
Aedegus? How do you spell it?
Aedeagus. Save some vowels for the other words. And injects his sperm through the wound in her abdominal cavity.
What the fuck?
It's kind of interesting when you think about how the vagina can be described as a wound or a gash or a slit. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that snails kind of do something similar to that, where they have like their penises are like spear bones
Let's see
that
if
they
they're...
stab into each other,
Yeah.
or some kind of nightmarish thing like that.
Whoa. Yeah, I was trying to see if...
I'm glad we're mammals.
Yeah, it's still quite... can be, it's a stabby thing. I mean, I'm glad that
But
if you're in a loving, consensual relationship, it's
not like a literal bone spear or
oh yeah, this is awful. I mean, so I do feel for the female bed bug.
Fuck.
So crazy. The process. Okay, the sperm diffuse through the female's hemolymph, diffuse.
Oh, naturally.
Through the female's hemolymph, reaching the ovaries and resulting in fertilization. Score. Great for the species. The process is detrimental, as you might have guessed, to the female's health. The Wikipedia page didn't say that, was my editorializing. It creates an open wound which impairs the female until it heals and is susceptible to infection.
So now you can hate bed bugs and feel sorry for them at the same time.
Right, the female. Only the females, though, but how do you tell? Yeah. So the thing is, my question, let's see, the injection of sperm and ejaculatory fluids, my other favorite phrase, into the whatever, can also trigger an immune reaction in the female. They produce solely by traumatic insemination. So basically, that'd be like us reproducing only by rape that, like, stabs us. I mean, it's
through the abdomen.
Horrible. I mean, I assume she doesn't go, come here, boys, I'll just accept what is coming to me.
Stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah.
With a fucking exospear.
They have evolved a pair of sperm receptacles known as the spermolage. So many cool words. It has been suggested that the spermolage reduces the direct damage to the female bedbug during traumatic insemination. Well, I hope so. However,
aren't you glad you're not a bug?
I mean, for so many reasons. However, experiments found no conclusive evidence for that hypothesis. As of 2003, the preferred explanation for that organ is hygienic protection against bacteria. Oh, I see. How does it make sense how does it make sense for her to be so damaged? How do they give birth? I mean, I know maybe that's not the right phrase.
Maybe they just become like a vessel.
I mean, are the babies going to be okay? Now I'm concerned about the babies somehow. This is making me feel weird. If she's like susceptible to infection and dies, how is that?
That's not good for the babies.
That's not good for procreation.
No, dying usually isn't good
repercussions
for carrying on life.
Yeah, it says traumatic insemination imposes a cost on females. Really? Reduced lifespan, and decreased reproductive output.
I wonder if there are any nice bed bugs that are like...
Only if you want to, honey.
Or no, that are like...
And let me put a cork on my penis.
That are like, let's do this carefully and gently.
Probably not.
Probably not.
And how would they express that?
Is that how... Okay.
That's as close as I could get with my vocal range. How would you do it?
I'm not gonna.
Oh, come on.
Try.
These costs include repair the wound, leakage of blood, increased risk of infection. Yeah, we kind of got all that.
Cool. And then they eat each other or something.
I just wanted to see if she freaking, like, it would at least make sense for their...
And then the male presents its anus to the female to then eat.
That would be fair. You know, you get your rocks off and I get to bite your ass off. Or, you know, if the male's penis broke off and he lost that would be more fair. That's all I'm looking for is equity in this situation.
You know, I wouldn't usually be for something like that, but yeah, in this case, yeah.
It's only fair.
That's fair.
Anyway, I'm gonna look up what the rate is of them carrying their little babies to term, or however. What do they lay eggs?
I would assume so. I think most bugs lay eggs.
There's just a lot of words here.
Don't all bugs lay eggs, actually? Are there any live-born bugs out there? Bugs?
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 Bugs, 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 bugs. I don't know. You're the bug guy.
Am I? I didn't know this.
Compared to me.
I didn't know.
But now you do, and you can't unknow it, and it will haunt you.
I don't really know that much. I don't really know
gonna
that much
kill
about
you.
bugs. Sorry, I guess I hit a
You
limit.
hit a wall. Okay.
I'm
And
sorry.
this probably sucked the joy and life out of you.
Pretty much.
All right.
Pretty
Well,
much.
on that note,
I really liked the koala info. That was pretty cool.
what about the
fingerprints.
17-inch duck penis? Did you like that?
I've heard about duck penises already. They're like
Yeah, corkscrew.
spirals. Also, I heard that the females' vaginas
Are threaded?
are corkscrew as well. I think that's what I've heard.
I closed the window already, so I
Hmm.
can't help you. I guess no one will ever know on this who relies on this podcast for their duck-related
Penis
sexual
information.
information.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
Nobody really needs to know this.
what is need to know? I mean, it's interesting, right?
That's fair. That's
Right?
fair. Okay, yeah.
It's joyful.
I wouldn't say joyful.
Yeah, I didn't.
mean,
I don't know
maybe
why
about
I
some
chose
of it.
that word. That was a bad choice of words.
The
So
clownfish.
next time we'll talk about maybe spontaneous sex changes in animals.
Just talk about it now. You got one animal, right?
No,
I already said the clownfish.
that's not what I wanted. I wanted the chicken.
Chickens can do that?
Chickens can do it.
There's chickens
There's
can
chickens.
do it.
There was one example chicken.
There's chickens that do it.
Shut up.
I'm sorry to do a southern accent. I know
Oh
southern
yeah.
people aren't.
Oh,
There are a lot of really
they hate
intelligent
you
southern
now.
people.
They hate you so much.
It's not right.
Chickens can sometimes undergo natural sex changes. Normally, female chickens have just one functional ovary on their left side. Interesting. Although two sex organs are present during the embryonic stages of all birds, once the chicken's female hormones come into effect, it typically develops only the left ovary. The right gonad, I love that word, which is yet to be defined as an ovary, so it just kind of hangs there, like, yeah, remaining dormant. Certain medical conditions, so if the left ovary, the active or healthy one or whatever, has like, if they have, I think it said like if there's like a tumor or if it gets damaged, the other one will like activate or whatever. I'm sure there's a better word, but I didn't
Activate.
just want to,
I don't know why I did that.
I like the mech like transformer sound, right? The dormant right sex organ may begin to grow. So I think there was a specific
Grow? For what? For what?
well, into like an ovary.
Okay.
No, into wait.
It forms into a thing. It
Sorry.
doesn't just grow for no reason.
Oh, because the remaining sex organ, I think it can be I think it was saying it could go either way. But she doesn't completely change into a rooster. Interesting. The transition is limited to making the
Wait,
bird
I thought you were
pheno-
talking about clownfish this whole time.
Is that a joke?
No.
I'm
I don't know
chickens.
if
I'm
you-
on chickens.
I don't know if you specified.
Because you
Maybe
said chickens can do it too,
could
and I
be
was like,
because-
yeah, chickens.
I'm sorry. It could be because I've been looking at that photo
Here,
of a
how about if I
clownfish.
just go like that?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so a chicken.
Starting over. I'm just kidding. So, let's see. She doesn't completely change into a rooster. The transition is limited to making the bird phenotypically male. I assume that means just biologically capable, physiologically capable of inseminating
That
others.
is so strange.
But
I
there-
didn't- No.
So there was an example of Gertie. Oh, it was there,
The
wasn't it?
hurdy-gurdy.
No. Where was it? Shit. Gertie the chicken, Gertie the hen, who then became Birdie the rooster. And I think she actually grew what do you call the
Testicles.
no. Do chickens have testicles?
That was an interesting sound.
What?
Chuck.
Oh, he doesn't
was
like
kind
us
of
talking
farty.
about sex things of animals. A British couple was surprised to witness their pet hen Gertie gradually transforming into a rooster. That would have been so weird if you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is not an early. Yep.
Charlie's crying at you.
Okay. She stopped laying eggs. She began strutting around their garden and crowing like a rooster. Over the next few weeks, she put on weight and developed wattles beneath her chin, a feature normally exhibited only by males. She also grew dark brown plumage and a scarlet coxcomb. Am I saying that right? Atop her head, both male traits. I know
Weird.
it sounds ridiculous, but I can assure you it's all true, Jim Howard told cambridgenews.co.uk. People think it's a bit weird, but apparently it's one of those things that does happen.
Huh.
I just thought that was...
I had no
Gertie
idea.
became Birdie. I think they said they changed her name to Birdie.
That's so crazy.
So there's a good thing. I don't know. It feels
So, I
like...
mean, clearly it's something that happens in nature.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, we know about the frogs from Jurassic Park, and you probably knew that anyway because you love frogs and toads. I feel like you're a fan. Some West African frogs has been known to spontaneously change sex from male to female in a single-sex environment. According to Dr. Sam Neill. What the hell was his name? Dr. Grant. On that note, nature is miraculous. Respect it, fear it, don't touch it. What's your closing thoughts?
No, that was good. Let's close on that.
All right. See you next time. And thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, please. Rate. We love you guys.
Yeah,
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.